Hey everybody, it's a great show this evening because I'm actually doing the evening show so this is new for me, but I have a great woman on again tonight. I've had on a couple of times. You guys all know about Lynn. She's actually an integrative health and mindstyle coach, an author and a speaker, and lives in Morrisville, North Carolina. And she's focused on helping empower individuals to live more deliberately, and use thoughts, active change agents, rather than an app in our background, which we're doing right now. But anyway, I'm going to bring Lynn on right now. I'm so excited to have her here because we're going to be having a wonderful show. Hey, Lynn.
Hi, Jenny.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's great. Thank you. I know I put you in the green room this time. Usually it's like, don't you usually put me in the green room? But anyway, we have so much to talk about tonight. I did not tell everybody what you're going to be talking about tonight, which is the histamine diet, MEAN. That's what most people think these diets are, but Lynn's going to tell you why the histamine is not mean. It's actually not a mean diet, and she'll tell you why. So Lynn, why don't you take it away?
And, just diets in general, people think they're mean, they're like just this awful thing, right? Because they seem to good. I have it too this week.
I have not had it on this week, except for you. So you should feel special. Right?
Bacon.
So yeah, bacon, exactly.
Well, listen, here's the thing. If we're viewing our diet as something negative or mean or awful, that's because we have not fully committed to it. There's some resistance there, right? So histamine, MEAN, change that to histamine, but make it mine.
Right.
Take ownership, 100% commit. And then it's not going to, when you are fully committed, you're just committed and you just move on. But histamines, MINE, histamines are actually not mean either. They're very important.
Yeah.
Histamine actually will help regulate the immune system, help regulate other cycles in sleep. They help usher out allergens out of the body. So histamines are good. But too much, when we have a histamine intolerance, and you've got too high a level in the bloodstream that the body cannot effectively tolerate. So here's Mark. Bacon not good.
Bacon not good. Well, you can talk about bacon too.
Yeah, turkey bacon.
Turkey bacon. Anyway, proceed, please. Mark, don't throw us off.
Well, and I don't know, if people out there watching this know of, I can't remember, Terry Walls. She is autoimmune guru, and she actually healed herself through MS after seeing doctors for years and becoming worse and worse and worse. And she cured herself through this histamine diet protocol. So it's really, and she was bad. She was in bad shape. I mean, she was in a lot of pain, could not walk. She was in a lot of, Terry Walls, WAHLS, if anyone wants to look her up. She's really amazing. So,
yes, she is.
So what causes this? The intolerance, right? There's probably, I'm going to just mention 4 big ones. There's probably more, but drug interactions. So drugs actually can interfere with the enzymes that break down histamine in the body. So heart medications, for example, antibiotics, antidepressants, pain meds, diuretics, muscle relaxants, etc. Those can really wreak havoc on the histamine levels. Poor gut health, which we know, I've had autoimmune. You've got, anyone with autoimmune disease knows how important gut health is. But what happens is that overgrowth of bacteria in the gut that produce histamines, right?
Right.
There's just too much of that. So, or a compromised gut lining, hyperpermeability of the digestive tract. That's, leaky gut. We're all familiar with that. And then also low HCl levels in the gut can also create like this ammonia gas, which is really bad as well. So drug interactions, poor gut health. I have to wash my bacon down.
I know. I was like, I'm only gonna have a little bite so it doesn't take over. Right.
And also low levels of just basic nutrients that break down histamine, such as like vitamin B and C and copper and zinc, which we should all be taking those anyway these days, especially the C and the zinc. Those are really good for fighting off certain viruses.
I see.
And then also there are certain foods, right, that are going to be higher in histamine, like citrus fruits, legumes, alcohol, fermented foods, leftover foods, eggs, aged cheese, bone broth, smoked meat. It's really funny because some of these foods, like we think we're being really healthy, right? We're eating our avocados every day, like me, and bone broth and fermented food like sauerkraut and kombucha, and we think we're doing all the right things, but no, those could be having a really bad impact on our bodies because everything is so bio-individual, right? And even like on those grocery lists they have for the histamine diets, there's some really wonderful resources out there, but just because it's on that list doesn't mean that it's good for you, right?
Right.
We'll get to that later. So those are 4 big ones, and you can even lump those into different categories. Like toxic heavy metals is another one, right? Poor liver health. I mean, our poor livers are doing so much work for us trying to filter everything out, right?
Do you suggest, by the way, that people eat organic then?
What's that?
Do you suggest that people eat organic? Is that what the diets say to do? Or
I always suggest that because there is so much toxicity in our food and water system. It's really disgusting. This has been going on for decades. And there's like 2,000 new chemicals created every year. I mean, it's like and this goes into the food and water supply. There's glyphosate in so much now. The glyphosate is in so many foods, GMOs. There could be 230 different chemicals on one apple. I mean, it's really awful. So I always say, and plus, here's a couple things I'll mention. You would have to eat to get the same nutrient density, the same nutrient so bacon not good. You'd have to eat 4 to 5 times as much inorganic food to get the same nutrients in the organic stuff. So people will say a lot of times that, it's so expensive to eat organically. Well, not if you're really caring about what the nutrients that you consume, because you'd have to, and so that's one. And then, chicken, for instance, which that's on the list for the histamine diet, but there used to, years and years ago, they decided that what the safe level of arsenic in chicken is. Now that sounds weird just to say that, right? Because what is arsenic doing in chicken is to like fend off parasites. The problem is our society now eats like 5-6 times as much chicken as we did back when those levels are set. So we're literally consuming arsenic,
So when the chickens lay the eggs, because I know we weren't really going to talk about this, but the eggs, do the eggs have the arsenic in them too because they're coming out of the chicken?
And not only that, think they're eating things from the ground, right? The animals that are eating off the land, our soils are so incredibly depleted and lacking in biodiversity. So it's not even like that it's not like they're saying you are what you eat. I always say you are that which what you eat eats. And so whatever they're eating and consuming, and the chemicals are going right into, so it's really, it's going right into us. If we're eating that kind of food, sure. And that's why we're so sick as not just a nation, but a globe. ARDA estimated like 80 million people with autoimmune disease or more. I think that's even underestimated. I think there are a lot of people finding out right now in this past year just how sick they are. Maybe they had no idea. Maybe they've got some autoimmune disease going on. Yeah, yes, good. I love this. eating the energy of them too. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's everything is energy and frequency.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Every amino acid chain has a frequency.
Mhm.
Everything, our bodies are just frequencies. Yes. We're energetic beings. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm talking too much.
No, I love it because you know way more about this than me. But I actually, so people know the reason I wanted her to speak about this is because I'm like, Lynn, oh my God, they just told me that my histamine levels were really high in my blood. They found this out in October, just told me like a month ago. I'm like, oh, that's great. But I said, what do I do? They're like, you have to go on a histamine diet. And they sent me this list. And I'm thinking, well, what am I going to eat? But there's a lot to eat on there. And Lynn's going to talk about that because here I am saying, what am I going to eat? There's a tons of things you can eat. It's just a change of your diet. And it's really not that, what's the word? I'm trying to think. It's really not taking away a lot of stuff from you. It's just taking away the things that aren't probably great for you.
Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I love this comment. Abused and tortured animals, we eat that energy. Mm-hmm. And not only that, think about the workers that are crammed in there too, and low wages, and then the energy of those people that, I mean, it's just, yeah. But so, yeah, I mean, if you look at, I mean, I've had to cure myself with food a number of times in my life, you know, and when you're really feeling like something's got to change, I'm really not well. You know, like, at least for me, it was like, I'll do whatever, whatever. Okay. And, if you fully commit, you're going to look at that grocery list and there's always two sides of the coin. So your negative limited thinking is going, oh, but like the lack thinking, there's not enough food. What am I going to do? And I think you're saying earlier, like, well, I'm losing weight. So this diet it's not a good diet because no, you're just not eating enough. There's plenty of food on the list.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that to Mark. Mark was like,
you just gotta eat more of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you were telling me. And I'm like, oh, so I'll eat more cauliflower and more greens. She'll talk to you about the greens. The greens are very important. So it's very important, right?
Absolutely. Our soils are depleted, so missing 85% of the nutrients we need. Mm-hmm. So if you can get organic food, they're going to be much more nutrient dense. And I'm a big fan of juicing twice a day.
Yeah.
What's this? My old friend named.
I'm laughing at you because you're eating more bacon.
We have bacon in the house.
All right.
Bacon. Remember last week? Basic approaches create optimal nutrition or nourishment. Bacon.
Yeah. Bacon. That's what we talked about last week. And because of that, we decided to do it this week and talk about this.
So let me just some symptoms though, because this can be really tricky. And with autoimmune, it's really tricky because there are so many autoimmune diseases and a lot of the symptoms mimic each other. It's really frustrating for somebody who has an autoimmune disease and for the person who's trying to figure out which one they have.
Right.
Right. Because I was told, well, you have this, well, you have that. It took a while to figure it out. So some symptoms, and I'm going to read you off of Terry Wall's website in a second, but some of the main ones, like you might have heart issues, increased heart rate, or maybe an irregular heartbeat, digestive issues. You can imagine because of the poor gut health, right? You might have constipation or bloating or nausea or gas or whatever. You might have dilation in the blood vessels in the brain that can produce dizziness and headaches, allergic reactions like itchy skin, rashes, hives, scratchy ears. You might have nasal congestion, a runny nose. You could even have brain fog or anxiety, or and so let me just read you because this is fascinating. So these are the symptoms that she lists on her website: fatigue, sleep disturbances or insomnia, headaches, migraines, diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, acid reflux, other digestive issues, congestion, runny nose, eczema, psoriasis, other skin issues, hives, flushing, facial swelling or other tissue swelling, red eyes, tightness in the throat, asthma attacks, seasonal allergies, hay fever, crawling sensation on the skin or scalp, low blood pressure, hypertension, tachycardia, fast heart rate, heart palpitations, drop in blood pressure when standing, vertigo or dizziness, anxiety, panic attacks, confusion, irritability, mood fluctuations, abnormal menstrual cycle, premenstrual syndrome, abnormal menstrual she said that twice, or bad morning sickness, and a partridge in a pear tree.
So my question is, how many people out there have actually had somebody say to you, oh, you're so cute, you're pregnant, but you don't really look pregnant. You're like, you didn't tell me that you're pregnant, but you're not pregnant. It's because your belly is so, just that one little area looks like you're like 2 or 3 months pregnant because your belly is so like bloated. And now I know what that's from. Now I know it's from this.
Mm-hmm.
You can try to lose all the weight you want to lose, and you don't lose that, right? It's because of this, at least for me.
Dead food, dead body, live food, live body. Yes, very true. And again, energy. That food has a good energy about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great vibrations. So, what next, Jenny?
So what do we do about this? Like, what do you do? Like, if you look like you have puffy belly and you're 2 or 3 months pregnant, what do we do? But we're not pregnant. Maybe you are. Maybe
I mean, there's so many different conditions that might underlie that, right? But if we have high histamine, then we do go on a low histamine diet, and you have to be really you got to be strict about this. You have to 100% commit to this program, right? You got it. There's like, if you want to feel better, I mean, Terry Walls, after all these years of struggling and feeling like that was like she was never going to get well, when she committed to her diet, she felt a shift within weeks. Within weeks, she was walking with a cane or some sort of assistance. She was walking.
Same with Jen. Same with Jen. Genergy. Same with her. I mean, she changed her diet. Things changed.
I did that like with my fibromyalgia. I was only out of bed 4 hours a day. I changed my diet. I ate well. I got on a protocol. I did some intravenous micronutrient therapy. Gone. Manageable. Same with my idiopathic pancreatitis that they told me had pancreatic cancer, but they actually told they had the wrong file. It was somebody else. I just had the idiopathic pancreatitis, and that pain was gone. Limited my salt, sugar, fat to 3 grams of that per day, and the pain was gone within few months. And then, after my brain injury, food was a big deal. And celery juice, I'm not a personal fan, but celery juice is very good for you. And it is, I believe, on the approved list. Yes.
Like I was mentioning before, that's what we started. And at first I was like, we had parsley in there too. And I was like, oh, you smell it at first and you're like, parsley and celery. I'm not a celery fan. I'll just be honest with you. Kind of like you, but we're wondering if this is really going to work because I have friends who had puppy belly too, and they don't have the digestive issues that they were having before. And I will say, I didn't know if it was because of Italian food years ago that I would have so rich, you have that really rich dessert, you have a couple of glasses of red wine, and all of a sudden you wake up in the middle of the night and you have acid reflux. And I'm like, I'm not my mother. Like my mother was having this. She's had it not her whole life, her adult life, because she eats a lot. But what's really sad is that I had that happen. And I was like, why is this happening to me?
Yeah. And again, there could be a number of reasons. I mean, a lot of people who get acid, my friend told me the other day, so I'm getting acid reflux every night. I can't. I say, well, what time do you eat dinner? 10. What time do you go to bed? 11.
Yeah.
And what time do you have your ice cream? 10:45. Well, duh. How
is that going to that too? Yeah.
Hey, and parsley, by the way, if you cook some parsley up and then you strain the water and then you mix that with some vitamin E and there's a whole, make a paste. It's a great mask for your face. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
And like, but that I've heard that's really good actually.
Yeah. Basically low fat, low protein, very nutrient dense. Lots of cruciferous vegetables, turmeric, ginger, exercise, always exercise. And you know what? Here's another limiting belief that I hear from people. Okay, well, I can't go to the gym. I broke my arm or I broke my foot. Well, you can still do upper body. Or if you break your finger, if you break your femur, maybe you want to rest for maybe that's the truth, right? But a lot of times it's, but anyway, quercetin, by the way, everybody should be taking their quercetin these days, every day. Very good for defending off certain viruses. Yeah, turmeric, ginger, celery, liposomal C and zinc. And again, we should definitely be taking those. Avoiding foods that, feed pathogens like dairy and eggs and gluten and soy and corn and processed foods and alcohol and fermented foods and leftovers and the usual smoked. Although a lot of these things are, I have avocado every day. I love fermented foods. I have sauerkraut in there. I have my kombucha. I like red wine. I like smoked salmon, so I don't know. But again, I would not
actually have some smoked salmon in the cabinet, and I'm like, can I just throw that away? I've seen that on the list. And I'm like,
I know, I'm bummed, but and I love Manchego cheese. I don't eat a lot of cheese, but I eat certain cheeses. I like high fatty cheese, and I love Manchego. Sunshine, yes, vitamin D, very good for you. Very good for you. Not only that, there are certain phytoncides in plants that when those chemicals get in your bloodstream, they actually help boost your immune system.
No.
But I have a surprise for you, Jenny.
Now, people, I'm a little bit nervous because she put that up. She put up my Canva and announced this whole thing. Also, she's like, "And I have a surprise for Jenny." I was like, uh-oh. It's not bacon.
It was a challenge. So, since my head injury, my dizziness has been getting worse lately, right?
It has? Okay.
Big time.
We didn't talk about the TBI, but she did have a major TBI, so just so people know.
I had a massive, massive, massive dealio. So I'm looking at this list the other day, especially walls. Sorry, everybody. So unprofessional.
Yeah. Here's the dealio. Actually, people are eating all the time. Now, we are going back to work in offices, so, I'm not, so I'm just going to still eat on here.
I was working with someone. She was helping me with my website, and she's so funny and so unique and a little bit like spazzy sometimes. She's like, I'm so sorry, I'm so professional. I'm like, I love that you are your authentic self. If you give me a professional product, all I want is for you to be who you truly are.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Now, if you give me an unprofessional product, we got a problem. But I love that you're being you. Yeah. So anyway, I'm weird too. Yeah. So the challenge is, I'm getting the disease. I usually, when my autoimmune stuff is coming back, I'll know because I'll have rashes, right? And I'm getting the vertigo. I've been having the blood pressure stuff when I'm looking at these symptoms going, I think my histamine level is too high. So I am going to go on the histamine diet with you, Jenny Gold.
You are?
Yes.
You know what? This is the deal, though. You're going out with Mark, too, because he makes all my food.
No. I'm doing my own thing. Because listen, just because there's something on a grocery list, like I was saying, doesn't mean it's all bio individual. Just because it's on that list doesn't mean it's going to be good for me personally. Right. So I think for everybody who's is going to change your diet and looking at a grocery list, take a glance and then mark off the things that are going to cause you issues. And then look at it again and go, that might cause me an issue. I know this won't cause me an issue. Start with those foods that you handle well. But
wonderful.
And I really do hope, because I know this diet has been effective for people with MS. So I'm really hoping that there's been direct studies to show direct linkages to histamine levels and MS. So anyone who
people with Lyme have the same issue. And I'm telling you, though, I've not met enough people with MS who actually have healed. But Jen's the biggest healer that I've seen so far. But honestly, and same with Lyme, if they manage their histamine levels, that's where they come up ahead of things.
There's a great resource for people with MS, and it's called MS Hope, HOPE, MS Hope. And this guy cured himself through diet and natural protocols. He tells his story on the website, but they offer these most amazing free resources and recipe books, and and it's a great resource. So we might want to put that in the whatever.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thanks everyone for letting me chew my bacon.
I know. I'm like, exactly. All right, here, we'll put this in here. But I do have a lot of friends that also have Lyme disease, and they have actually done quite well, the histamine diets. And my doctors were not surprised when they said, well, of course you have high histamine levels. I'm like, well, you could have told me that in October. But what are we doing still in October, November, December, January, February, March, April? I'm buying all this wine. I'm drinking all this wine like every night, having a glass or two of wine. And is that the reason my numbers were high? I don't know.
I mean, who knows? I mean,
but it also could be the diet. I 100% believe it's the diet.
Well, I mean, there are people who can, if when you get your histamine levels in, normalized again, right, to acceptable levels,
right?
Well, maybe that won't trigger a histamine. It maybe your enzymes are going to be doing a better job at breaking down
the
histamine in your body. Yeah,
I agree with you.
Histamine is not mean; it's our friend.
And that's what everybody's asking me, because they're like, "Is it mean? Why did you say it's mean?" And I'm like, because people think it's mean because they're not feeling great, but they don't know why.
But if we're not feeling great, we are mean. We can be mean with what we're not feeling well. I mean, our psychology and our physiology is all interlinked.
Yeah, it is. I know it is for me. So Lynn,
yes, ma'am.
Something you can tell me about how somebody can be coached through this if there's no way that I can deal with this. Like, I need a coach, I need counseling through this. Because a lot of doctors don't understand what to do other than throw a shopping list at you and say, go for it. And a lot of people need some help with this.
Yeah, and a lot of doctors wouldn't even do that, honestly.
Because I was an autoimmune specialist. That's the only reason they sent that to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Somebody once asked me, somebody who worked at an integrative center, and they said, if you ask a person, a potential client, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to your health? What is the acceptable number for you to coach them? And I said, I could work with a 7, even a 6, maybe a 5. I don't know if I want anything under. And the guy yelled at me almost. He's like, no, you should never take anyone under 10. I said, you're missing 2 points. If that is the way you ask the question, someone might look at that question and go, how committed am I to my health? Well, obviously I'm way overweight and I'm eating chips all day and I'm not eating my vegetables. So I probably 5. You never know how they're reading that and how they're interpreting that and how what is happening up here. Now, if I'm as a mindstyle coach, right? Because that's how I heal myself, was through this, right?
Right.
If I'm doing my job, I should be able to get that 7 to an 8. And just that one shift is going to make that person want to shift that 8 to the 9. Right. And then, or we worked. So that wasn't your question. I know, I'm sorry. But
no, it's okay.
This is the kind of thing is we just, like, I had a client, she never knew Zoom. The first time I was Zooming with her, she's like, can you see me? Can you see? And it was hilarious. And she's like, I'll never be able, it's so hard. And I said, no, it's just different. She goes, oh, it's just different. So I do a lot of the work that I do is really focused on here and trying to reframe how we look at things, right? And because when we attach meaning to things is where we really introduce suffering, right? Because if we say something's bad, no, it's not bad.
I'm really not that short. See, now we're more level.
There you go.
I was like, why aren't we level? I'm like sitting here trying to get higher.
That's okay. We went for a couple minutes earlier. We didn't even know we weren't live.
Everybody knows I do that. I'm so sorry. Lynn's like, again. I'm like, I know, I did it again. I know, it's kind of funny though. We have to Lynn and I actually have a really good time on here together Tonight is a little bit more serious than we usually are, but this is a serious topic. It really is a serious topic. And it doesn't matter what illness you have, you might have a histamine diet issue.
Yeah, and it wouldn't hurt just trying it for a couple months. You can just try for a couple months. And here's the thing, and Jen knows this because we went to through the same curriculum. You know, we looked at over 100 dietary theories. Huh? Yeah.
This is the other Jen, by the way.
Oh, sorry. We looked at over 100 dietary theories at IAN, Institute for Integrative Nutrition in New York. And we didn't mention histamine diet, but it can really help a lot of people. So, yeah, this is serious stuff. And we got to take our health seriously. If we've learned anything in the last year, it's how truly sick we are, not only as a nation, but as a globe. We really got to take control of our health.
And a lot of people, I mean, Lynn, you've gone out there and you've talked to people about what's happened with you, and I have not. So this is a new thing for me within the last 6 months for me to talk about this. I mean, I talk to people because they see me because it's not an invisible disease anymore. But I still didn't want to go on camera and tell the world, like, this is what's going on with me. But the more and more I saw what people were going through, like yourself, and other people like Genergy, for example, I was learning more and more. And I was like, you know what? There's not a reason for people to be depressed and have all this anxiety and whatever they have, because guess what? We can all help each other. We can actually help each other. So that's why I like to bring people like you on, because you're helping people. And that's my goal. That's my goal.
So are you. And so are you by telling your story. And I did not even know that because I think I only met you like 3-4 months ago. I don't even know. And I had no idea. So good for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just, I actually didn't know that at the beginning, but some people said to me, why aren't you telling your story? I'm like, I don't want to tell my story. And I'm like, okay, I'll tell my story. But it took a little bit for them to get it out of me. I'm like, I don't have a story to tell. They're like, yes, you do.
Yeah, everybody does.
We all do. And I think more people are coming out of the autoimmune closet because they didn't want to tell their employers that this is what they had. And that's why they're out from work and everything. So I really appreciate you coming on to tell people that about what's going on with you and these diets and everything else, which we didn't really get into your background, what we have in the past shows. So, but that's okay. So, but you are an overcomer for sure. And you're beating what you have. But we're going to do this diet together.
Yep.
I promise. So thank you. I appreciate you saying you'll do this with me. Lynn's always like my big sister, but actually I'm older than she is. So you know what? I'm not your big sister. I don't know.
I just had a birthday last week. Was it last week? Wait a minute. No, it was 2 weeks ago. I
was older than you. I don't even know. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter.
You know what? Age is whatever. It doesn't matter.
No.
But you are still like my big sister. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I need that. So everybody, please reach out to Lynn. All her information is down there. It's been up for a couple of days, like a week. But yeah, please reach out to her. Lynn, do you want to tell them how to reach out to you?
Yeah, just go to my website, lynndelgaudio.com. Is my name, LYNNDELGAUDIO. It's a nice Irish name. Or just shoot me an email, lynn@lynndelgaudio.com. Yes, okay. I'd love to hear from you.
So, so you said you have one-on-one courses or classes, right? And one-on-one coaching and all that stuff. So they can all get that information from your website.
Yeah. And I even got do-it-yourself stuff and free resources. And I've got just go there. There's lots of good stuff.
Just go there. All right. Anyway, guys and gals, have a great evening. Thank you for coming tonight. I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions, please reach out to Lynn or myself. Thank you. Bye, Lynn.
Bye. Thanks, Jenny.
Bye.
Bye.